Thomas, let's start with the UK CMA. What are the details of what we know?
Yeah, as you say, Edward, it's early stages, but I think we did see it coming. We saw some early signs. It's hard to keep up with the CMA probes, even on Microsoft's front. You know, it's less than 2 months since they closed the Activision probe, but in recent months they've been looking at AI foundation models. They've also been looking at the cloud market. And in today's statement on OpenAI, they do explicitly mention the relationship with Microsoft Azure and OpenAI. So, yeah, really interesting to see other regulators making similar early moves.
It's kind of fascinating, ultimately, when we're looking across at what also the US FTC is examining into the nature of the investment that Microsoft made in OpenAI. We know they put in what ultimately is about $13 billion in terms of overall valuation that they've been contributing to OpenAI. But what the CMA is looking at is whether, particularly through the governance situation, the unraveling, the firing, then rehiring of Sam Altman, that de facto Microsoft has more control than, well, the less than 50% ownership they have in equity. What is it that the CMA is trying to prove here? Who and how can consumers and competition be heard?
Yeah, the key phrase, and when you look at antitrust, there's a lot of dry or arcane phrases. The key phrase with the CMA is substantial lessening of competition or relevant merger situation. Now, clearly, this isn't a merger per se, but it is a substantial investment. We don't know the term sheet. I'm sure they would like to take a look at it. In fact, on stage at the Bloomberg Technology conference last month, back in October, I asked the senior director at the CMA that very question, whether he'd like to see the term sheets, and you could tell that he would, and he implied that they wanted to look at these vertical relationships, as he says, between big tech companies and foundation models, not just Microsoft OpenAI, but also substantial investments in Anthropic, obviously Google's full-blown takeover several years ago of DeepMind.